let me ask, is there a steep learning curve with wingsuiting? Because to me, it's like, cool, oh, like I want to go wingsuiting, and someone's like, cool, here's the suit, jump. And you're like, okay, like what's the learning curve? Kind of describe, how do you train, how do you prepare, and how do you get to wingsuiting? Because I know you were part of the first movement and you guys kind of developed it. So how did that development kind of come around?
Yeah, so first of all, learning how to wingsuit back in 2000 was it's very different than today, because the modern wingsuit, or not the modern, but the more commercial product of like the possibility for everyone to go wingsuiting, that I believe it came in '99. So it was very new on the market, and because pretty much nobody in the world knew how to fly a wingsuit. The level was extremely low globally. Yeah. It was almost like joining wingsuiting in 2001, 2, 3 was basically to join this little group of people that were trying together to figure out how on earth to fly well. While today you have a way higher level, because naturally it's been 20 years, and you join into a sport where you have role models and highly skilled potential mentors that you can look up to and you can learn from them. The journey to become a wingsuiter could, I wouldn't say it's harder or easier than anything else. If you compare, let's say you want to go surfing and you never surfed before, it's definitely going to take you about, I don't know, 100, 120, 30 solid surfing days before you look like a surfer, before it starts looking like something that, it's kind of decent surfing. And it's pretty much the same in skydiving and wingsuiting and base jumping as well. You need to put in about 100, 150 solid days at the drop zone, where you get some good skydiving happening, and you get the proper progression. And that's gonna pretty much bring you to a level where you can safely start base jumping. And so it's like, people have a tendency of looking at it a bit mystical. It's like, ooh, this is like sketchy, dangerous sport where people are doing those like really radical things. But ultimately, if you do all the steps, you take the skydive course, you get the skills, and you start wingsuiting from an airplane, and then you get those skills, and then you take a base course or something. Like, if you take those steps, nothing is really mystical anymore. It's just a natural progression that I would say most of us is able to do. It's you need to be above average risk willing, I would say, or there need to be some kind of motivation behind it that really drives you forward, because it is seriously scary. I mean, to jump off a mountain it's still scary. Like, I've done it for 20 years, and you need some kind of reason to do it.
Well, we've joked about it, and I guess we were like, I guess maybe it was a couple of years ago, we literally did not know how you went from saying I want to do the sport to actually being, floating down, a ridge. And we were like, so how does that even happen? We couldn't connect up that you would start out with skydiving first, then you have a chute, and there's steps along the way. So we were just thinking it's the craziest learning curve in the history of like things that humans. It's like, I'll try it. Let's see if I can do it. If I can't, I'm dead. That's basically that's basic. But no, there is definitely a systematic way to de-risk the sport, which we somehow, as laymen, we just didn't connect up. But now it totally makes sense. So you may
I can give you the numbers. It won't take that much time. So to take a skydive course is about 1 week. One week where it costs quite a lot of money, but you have a lot of resources on you, and you learn how to safely jump out of an airplane and land at a pre-decided landing area. And then you have to move on doing about 200 skydives within a fairly short time frame. You can't do 200 skydives over 20 years. Like, it need to be within a little less than 2 years. So you need to put in a fair amount of weekends and put aside some resources to make this happen. You do those 200 skydives, then you can do something called a first jump course in wingsuit, which is normally it's just a day, like a day or two with an instructor that helps you, put the wingsuit on the skydive rig and make you understand things. And then you go through a couple of jumps together, and then you are an independent wingsuit skydiver. And you can basically just jump your ass off with a wingsuit out of airplanes.
So is that an international protocol on how to become an international wingsuit skydiver?
Yeah, pretty much. There are a few exceptions. There are definitely some
Cowboys?
sketchy republics where you can go and get away from those rules. But from a personal point of view, those rules are not very hard. It's they're not tough. They're not strict. To do 200 skydives isn't actually taking that much time, and it's really worth it because in the end, when you jump out an airplane with a wingsuit, it's way more fun and it feels much better if you've done like a proper amount of skydives in advance. And then when you've done those 200 skydives and you start wingsuiting a little bit and you reach 250 skydives, then you can take a base course. That's normally 10 days. It can be a week where you get through all the learning how to pack, learning how to deal with all kinds of different base jumping, and you jump off bridges and you get used to it, and then you move to mountains that are very overhanging, and then you nail the exit and you start understanding more and more about it. And then after a couple of weeks, you are an independent base jumper. And if you put in a season where you jump off whatever you can find that is safe-ish, you well, there are no one that is really doing a proper wingsuit base course. It's like when you come to the point where you've done all that skydiving, all that wingsuit skydiving, all that base jumping, you've done it for a year, you know so many people that you can basically just reach out to someone that have done a fair amount of wingsuit and be like, hey, can you just help me get through those first couple of wingsuit base jumps safely? And most people would help you, and then you're there. And let's say after a season or like 100, 200 wingsuit jumps, you are going to realize that it's not that difficult, and it's lots of fun. And most people would start flying a little bit more like close to terrain and cruise around. So for some of you two guys, you would be, I would say that you would need about 2 years from now if you put in the resources, and then you would jump off mountains in a wingsuit.
Hope you all enjoyed this pod clip. Hit us with the Holy Trinity. Go to our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, which is at HOMIEandTheDUDE. Like, follow, and subscribe to all of those. And thanks again, guys. Have an awesome day.